Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia is a super underrated roller coaster, which I literally have above Velocicoaster and Lightning Rod. And I don't think people give this thing enough slack just because it's not the most crazy and intense roller coaster in the world. Okay, so let's get the cons out of the way first. Yes, this coaster basically has no theming, unless you count the Harley Quinn Crazy Coaster trivia thing. I'm gonna stop yelling. But no theming, and this ride has a bit of a rattle, but the airtime is some of the most violent I've ever experienced. And yes, I'm talking about a B&M Hyper. So when you first drive up to the park, the entire coaster dominates the skyline. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the cheesy bits. Back to your regularly scheduled program. And then you get up to the ride, and, well, there's literally no theming, like I said, but the rest of the ride makes up for it completely. Like all other B&M Hypers and Gigas, yes, Orion's a Giga, you have the incredible clamshell restraints. And, these are the best restraints to ever exist. I mean, Velocicoaster's restraints are good, but compared to the clamshells, they're basically comfort collars. After you go up the lift, you go down a 170-foot drop. And while some people don't think it's a hyper because there's no 200-foot drop, I believe that the 200-foot height easily makes it a hyper. Anyways, back to the drop. It gives incredible ejector airtime in the back row. Yes, this drop is as good as Iron Gwazi's first drop. Oh yeah, and just a side note, I've only been on it in the back row, but that's probably the only place you're gonna want to ride it, so after that you go into a pretty rattly valley. And I'd say the roughest parts of the ride are the first and second valley and the 540-degree turn. But then you go into a pure floater airtime hill, and in the back row, the floater is perfect going into it. But going out of it, it turns into Flowjector as you go further down the hill. Following that is another pretty rattly valley, and another pure bliss airtime hill. And now we've reached the toilet bowl thing, whatever it's called. The floater is fantastic going into it, and the positives were really good, but the thing I want to highlight are the near misses on this thing. I instinctively ducked every time we hit this element, and I'd probably compare this to Fairy 325's near miss, but you got 3 of them. Trims follow the toilet bowl, and they're really loud, but that's all they do. They don't slow you down or make the airtime any less powerful, they're just kinda there. Then you go into another really good floater hill before hitting a second turn. Now this turn doesn't do much. I mean, it gives a bit of laterals, but after that is probably the best part of the ride. The 4 final airtime hills. Or maybe it's the second best or third best. This ride is just so good. The first one gives really strong floater going up and good Flowjector going down. The next one gives even stronger floater going up and going down almost ejector airtime. But the transition is really short from airtime to positives and really violent, and while some may dislike it, I think it adds to the wildness and character of it. The second to last airtime hill gives good Flowjector through the whole thing, and a really short transition to positives again. And the final hill gives the strongest airtime on the ride, with full-on RMC level ejector, and then you're slammed back into your seat for the final time, ending your ride on this amazing beast. This roller coaster is so underrated. You got positives, floater, ejector, amazing restraints, near misses, great park interaction, and now I have this above Velocicoaster in my rankings. So what would I rate this out of 10? Definitely, 1.